In the voice of a preacher is always a story. Moses can open the Red Sea. Jesus can turn water to wine. But it's useless if it's never recorded. Generations later will never know the power or the miracle God did. Jesus raising Lazarus never be recorded. Only those who was there would have witnessed and seen it and heard it. But when they recorded it and put it in writing form, generations later was able to inspire others and to believe and trust. And that's what the Blazer is. It is our written Bible of our story. First of all, it's someone who's creditable, who's come from among us, who's sharing light to others and to ourselves about our journey.
The average media outlet still marginalizes the African American or the Black American. We're not just all criminals. We're not all non-civil, so on and so forth. But the Blazer looks at the positive things, the great contributions. The Blazer's just been a staple, but more important than just a newspaper. They've helped white Americans, white Jacksonians, to see that on the south side of Jackson, at JPS, at Consumers Energy, at Allegiance Health, African Americans are doing some wonderful, wonderful things and a critical participant in our community.
There were certainly more positive achievements in this city than mainstream media was willing to portray. They were interested in something sensationalized journalism. So the Jackson Blazer got his birth, and immediately it was a big hit in Jackson. As I go through old papers and I see how the whole city was galvanized, and there was excitement, and from the social community, the religious community, the educational community, all can be seen in the early pages of the Jackson Blazer.
I learned a long time ago, history is his story, who's ever telling it. And I feel as though the editor of the Blazer doesn't write through their lens, but write through the victims or the warriors or the heroes' lens. And so when I read a story in the Blazer, it's like talking to that person face to face. And so I thank God for that. Just the ability to be able to hear someone who might be silenced.
The Blazer is instrumental, probably more so now than at any time in its existence, because after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed during Reconstruction, once they seen the progress that Black Americans were having, they instituted the Jim Crow laws to marginalize their upward mobility. Well, they were able to dismantle them from a structural perspective with Brown versus Board of Education, Civil Rights Act 1963, Voter Rights Act 1964, but the systematic racist practices and principles were still embedded into our criminal justice system, our education system, our economic system to get loans, so on and so forth. But the Blazer allows everyone throughout our community that want to get a view into what it's like being Black, the civility and our struggles. They can look at the Blazer and see we're alive and well, but yet we're oppressed. We got to go through and we got to overcome. And I encourage every funder, everyone that's looking to spend money in marketing, make sure you tap into the Blazer. Make sure you support the Blazer. It'll be $1 well spent.
I'm really, proud of the Jackson Blazer. It's still a need. There's, we aren't the voice of the people. We give the people an opportunity a vehicle to carry their voice. And so we like to feel that we're not going to infiltrate your message. It's going to be strictly your message, and we'll do our best to portray it.
The Blazer is a book, it's not a paper. It tells a story within a story. It makes you say, why and how? And while I wish I was there, it draws you to a place that it appears that is over with, but you living it again. So the Blazer is a living paper.
My mission as publisher of the Jackson Blazer not only was to portray African Americans in a positive light, but also to bridge this community together. I wanted to shred the label of a black newspaper and become a community newspaper. I'm honored to be thought of as important enough, as honorable to carry that message. I don't take that responsibility lightly. Every life is exciting. I'm always interested in knowing people's journey, especially I really have a passion for the elderly, knowing their family history. Where did they come from? Generations. Often there's a few people who they're only 2 or 3 generations away from slavery in reference to black people. But I'm not just motivated by black people. I'm motivated by people, and I like to know where they, how their lives, how they got to this point, and what makes them happy, and what moves them, and how they interact in this community. How can we all come together and be happy? Because basically I'm happy every day, and I'm happy because of people and their story. And I like to, when you see the Blazer, I like to think that that's what you see, people's lives in the Blazer.